Today we are tackling an actress who, well, she defined a generation, didn't she? Yet somehow she's managed to have this career spanning, what, 5 decades?
Easily.
And most people kind of overlook a lot of it, all because of, those 4 simple words, Carrie Bradshaw. Welcome to the deep dive. We are, of course, focusing on Sarah Jessica Parker.
And it's understandable why the Tutu and the New York column really dominate the public memory. It was huge.
Absolutely.
But when we actually look at the sources, this comprehensive stack you provided, detailing her whole life, her trajectory, it becomes really clear that the iconic HBO role was, yes, a massive engine, absolutely, but just one part of a very shrewdly engineered, multifaceted career.
Right.
She leveraged that fictional persona into real-world business and cultural power in a way that, honestly, almost none of her peers really managed.
That's exactly what we want to do today. Our mission here is to move past just the fashionista image, and really uncover the depth of her influence.
Yep.
We're analyzing the actress, the savvy producer, the ambitious entrepreneur, and also the powerful cultural advocate she's become.
Yeah.
This dive is going to detail everything from her incredibly humble beginnings back in Ohio, right up to being recognized as one of the 100 most influential people in the world by Time magazine.
Yeah.
That was 2022.
Which is huge. And that influence, it's rooted in verifiable professional success, Before we really dive in, it's worth noting the scale of her achievement at a high level.
Definitely.
She has secured 6 Golden Globe Awards and 2 Primetime Emmy Awards across her career.
Wow.
So that really confirms she achieved, critical and industry recognition, not just pop culture status.
Good point.
Okay, so let's unpack this journey. Let's start right at the beginning, which was pretty difficult.
Right. Section 1, the early foundations. We're talking Broadway, hardship, and the real start of her career. You mentioned difficult beginnings, and the sources really, really underscore this.
They do.
Sarah Jessica Parker was born March 25, 1965, in Nelsonville, Ohio. And the family structure itself was immediately kind of complicated. She was one of 8 children.
8.
From her mother Barbara's 2 marriages.
Yeah, and that family size, that's really the key to understanding the early drive, I think. Her mother was a nursery school operator and teacher, and her father, Stephen, he was an entrepreneur and journalist.
Okay.
But the sheer logistics, supporting 8 children meant intense financial scarcity. The sources really detail the significant struggles her parents faced.
And she's spoken about this very candidly, hasn't she? Painting this powerful image of early poverty that just runs completely counter to her current, glamorous image.
Completely.
She recalled times when the electricity would often just be shut off in their home.
Wow.
Or when the family was forced to forego things like Christmases and birthdays because they simply didn't have the money.
Yeah.
It sounds like just a constant grinding struggle to make ends meet.
It certainly paints a picture of a childhood defined by lack. Yeah. But what's fascinating, and you see this in the sources, is that financial constraint did not lead to cultural deprivation. Her mother, Barbara, made this deliberate, almost, sacrificial effort to immerse all the children in culture.
How did she manage that with no money?
Well, she focused on free public institutions, taking them to places like the ballet and the theater in Cincinnati, things that were accessible.
That's a crucial distinction, isn't it?
Yeah.
It wasn't just about survival. It was about ensuring they lived what she described as full, rich lives, despite the economic reality.
Exactly.
This emphasis on high art, despite that sort of Midwestern poverty, must have been incredibly formative. It sounds like it instilled in her an ambition for a specific kind of world, maybe the high art world of New York.
I think you're right, exactly. And speaking of specific cultural foundations, while she had no formal religious training, Parker identifies as culturally Jewish, like her father, Stephen. The family's original surname was actually Bar Khan, which translates to son of Cohen.
Interesting detail.
Yeah, and it reinforces that she was raised in this, highly cultured, if cash-strapped environment that really prioritized history and art. This blend of, let's say, Midwestern practicality and artistic ambition, it created a very distinct psychological engine for her career, I think.
And that engine started turning pretty much immediately.
Yeah.
She began training in singing and ballet as a very young girl.
Right.
And that professional training led quickly to the professional stage. She made her Broadway debut at the age of 11. 11.
Incredible.
Appearing in the 1976 revival of The Innocents.
And we need to pause on that professionalization. She wasn't just, a child actor dabbling. She was a working professional, basically helping to support her family almost from the jump.
Wow.
Her truly breakout stage role came just 3 years later. In March 1979, she landed the title role of the Broadway musical Annie.
Annie. That's huge.
A massive high-profile role for a child.
And she held that role for a full year. I mean, think about the stamina, the discipline, the sheer memorization required to sustain a performance schedule like that as a young teen.
Oh, yeah.
That's an apprenticeship in relentless hard work and reliability right there.
Absolutely. From the stage, she then transitioned to the small screen, and critics immediately took notice. In 1982, she got the lead role in the CBS sitcom Square Pegs.
I remember that show. Vaguely.
Yeah, the show itself was short-lived, only ran for 1 season, but her performance was widely acclaimed.
Right.
She played Patty Green, this sort of shy teen navigating high school, but one with, significant hidden depths.
Okay.
This established her early ability to portray characters who were layered and relatable, not just like comedic foils.
And the 1980s then solidified her presence in film, showing that early genre flexibility we talked about.
Exactly.
The sources highlight her role in the 1984 drama Footloose, and significantly, the 1986 Disney science fiction film Flight of the Navigator.
Yeah, good example. She wasn't just taking any role. She was making these deliberate choices to jump across genres from, teen dramas to family sci-fi.
She was learning the craft of film acting, really setting the foundation for what turned out to be a pivotal decade. The 1990s.
Precisely.
And that foundation of versatility leads us directly into Section 2, the path to stardom and her extensive 1990s filmography. This decade is so crucial because it's where she really developed the market muscle, I guess.
Yeah, market muscle and critical trust.
Right, the trust necessary to eventually carry a massive franchise.
This is a remarkable, really strategic period of building credibility. In the early 90s, she demonstrated her range almost yearly. Like in 1991, she was in the Steve Martin romantic comedy LA Story.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah. She played a ditzy, aspiring spokesmodel and got really positive reviews for hitting those comedic notes perfectly.
And then the next year, 1992, that was a big commercial step, right? She starred opposite Nicolas Cage in Honeymoon in Vegas.
Yep. That film was a critical success, and importantly, it earned US $35 million at the box office.
Okay, so proving she could anchor successful studio comedies.
Exactly. And then we get to the film that has truly become this cultural landmark long after its release, Hocus Pocus in 1993.
Ah, yes. Halloween staple.
Totally. She played one of the villainous Sanderson sisters alongside screen veterans Bette Midler and Kathy Najimy.
It's such a classic case study in, delayed gratification, isn't it?
It really is.
The sources note that critically, the film was only rated average by reviewers at the time.
Pretty mediocre reviews.
And its initial theatrical gross was modest, like US $39 million.
Yeah.
You could have easily just considered it a minor entry in her filmography back then.
Easily. But here's where the resilience of her choices really shines through. Hocus Pocus went on to become this massive, enduring cult film.
How did that happen?
Well, that status wasn't built in the theater. It was cemented over time due to extremely strong DVD sales and just an enormous dedicated television following, especially, like you said, during the Halloween season.
Right.
It means that by the time Sex and the City launched, she already had this loyal, kind of cross-generational fan base outside of just adult comedy.
That's smart. And she balanced these broader, more family-oriented comedies with serious artistic choices in the mid-90s, too, often collaborating with powerhouse directors.
She did. In 1994, she appeared opposite Johnny Depp in the highly acclaimed Tim Burton biographical drama Ed Wood.
Oh, right.
She played Dolores Fuller, the titular character's long-suffering girlfriend. This really proved she could hold her own in a critically dense, character-driven environment.
Totally different vibe.
Completely. And she stayed in the Tim Burton universe, showcasing her adaptability to ensemble mayhem, let's call it.
Okay.
In 1996, she was part of that huge, star-studded cast in the sci-fi comedy Mars Attacks.
Oh.
She played Natalie Lake, a chat show host. And we have to mention the specific detail from the sources because it really demonstrates her commitment to high-concept, absurd comedy.
Yeah.
Her character, in one of the film's most memorable moments, has her head transfused by the invading aliens with that of her chihuahua.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. That was her.
That was her. It's physically comedic, almost grotesque, and just a world away from the refined acting of Ed Wood.
That sequence, yeah, while brief, it cemented her ability to be recognized even in a massive ensemble cast like that.
Definitely.
But the real commercial juggernaut of the mid-90s was the First Wives Club, also in 1996, which reunited her with Bette Midler.
Yes. This film was a commercial phenomenon, grossed a massive U.S. $105 million at the North American box office.
Wow.
But the impact is what matters most here, I think. This film developed a hugely significant cult following, specifically among middle-aged women.
Interesting.
A demographic she would very soon come to define with her next big project.
Ah, okay, I see the connection. That's the strategic convergence we need to note then.
Exactly.
She simultaneously appealed to critics with Ed Wood, kids and nostalgia audiences with Hocus Pocus, and this core, devoted adult female audience with the First Wives Club.
Mm-hmm.
She had built up this massive, diverse, and loyal portfolio just before she received the script that would, well, change not just her life, but the cultural landscape of television.
She had the credibility, she had the range, and she had the audience backing. All that hard work, from the stage to the B-movies, it was all preparation for the massive weight that was about to land squarely on her shoulders.
Which was Carrie Bradshaw.
Yeah.
And that brings us to Section 3, the Carrie Bradshaw cultural phenomenon. This really runs from 1998 through, well, arguably even 2015 if you count the films.
Yeah, the influence lasted.
This is the ultimate turning point, isn't it? Transforming a respected actress into a global icon, which also brought unprecedented scrutiny.
Absolutely. The HBO dramedy Sex and the City was adapted from Candace Bushnell's book, of course. And the creator, Darren Star, he was apparently insistent that SJP play the lead.
Really?
Yeah. The sources indicate she initially had genuine doubts about committing to a long-term television series, after years of flexibility in film and stage.
That makes sense.
But she eventually agreed, taking on the role of Carrie Bradshaw, the narrator, the main protagonist, structuring each episode around her weekly column for the fictitious paper, the New York Star.
And the success was immediate, wasn't it? But the enduring critical response to her performance, that was sustained throughout the show's initial run.
It really was.
Carrie Bradshaw wasn't just popular. She was instantly canonized, included in virtually every list of the greatest female characters in American television history.
She really transcended acting. She became this cultural representative. We have to highlight this powerful quote from The Guardian in 2009, which named Bradshaw an icon of the decade. They stated she did as much to shift the culture around certain women's issues as real-life female groundbreakers.
Wow. That is an immense claim.
Yeah.
How do we analyze that level of influence? Like, how does a fictional character achieve that kind of real-world sociological impact?
It's complex, definitely. But I think it comes down to providing this visual, aspirational, yet also deeply relatable narrative for women who were navigating modernity, sexuality, career choices, especially in the city.
Right.
Carrie May talking about things like female friendship, financial independence, complex romantic choices. She made it mainstream and acceptable, all wrapped up in this glossy, high-fashion package. It provided conversation points that had maybe previously been confined to, academia or niche literature, and launched them into global water cooler territory.
And the awards sweep reflects that dominance during the initial run, 1998 to 2004. The industry was fully recognizing the cultural weight of the show and her performance.
Absolutely.
She secured 2 Primetime Emmy Awards, one in 2004 for lead actress in a comedy series.
Yep.
And perhaps more tellingly, one in 2001 as a producer for outstanding comedy series.
Ah, the producer credit. That's key.
That producer credit shows her early commitment to having control behind the scenes, right?
Definitely. And add to that list 4 Golden Globe Awards for Best Actress in a Comedy Series, spanning 2000, 2001, 2002, and 2004, plus 3 Screen Actors Guild Awards.
4 consecutive Golden Globes for Best Actress.
Yeah, that 4-year run just speaks volumes about her total domination of the comedic acting landscape during that era, no question.
Okay, so following the series' conclusion in 2004, the transition back to film was critical. Could she shed the character? Could she escape Carrie?
Big question.
In late 2005, she starred in the family dramedy The Family Stone, reuniting with Diane Keaton. She played this classic, kind of uptight, New York career woman who's thrown into chaos during a family Christmas.
Right, and the performance was a huge test, and honestly, she passed it with flying colors.
You think so?
Yeah. Reviewer James Bradnelli specifically noted that Parker aces it. He stated that of all the characters in the movie, she underwent the biggest transformation, proving she wasn't just Carrie Bradshaw wearing a different suit.
Okay, that's significant.
And the film was a huge commercial success, too. Grossed over US $92 million worldwide and earned her yet another Golden Globe nomination for Best Actress.
Wow. So she followed that with more box office hits, notably the romantic comedy Failure to Launch in 2006.
Which opened at #1.
Right, opened to top the North American box office. And of course, the studio couldn't resist leveraging the brand further with the feature films, right? Sex and the City in 2008 and the sequel, Sex and the City 2 in 2010.
Yeah, and while those films were undeniable commercial successes, they demonstrated the sheer power of the brand.
Oh, yeah.
They were met with a very lukewarm, sometimes even hostile, critical response.
Right. This is where the intense public scrutiny started to turn a bit negative, wasn't it?
Definitely. The pressure to maintain that iconic image became really apparent.
I think we need to analyze that contrast, though. How do you square being named one of the greatest female characters in television history
Right.
with the fact that she garnered nominations for the Razzie Award for Worst Actress for Sex and the City 2?
It's jarring.
And these nominations extended to her other 2011 roles, including I Don't Know How She Does It and the ensemble film New Year's Eve.
Yeah, it's a classic case of, I think, public fatigue and brand overexposure. When a character becomes that culturally powerful, the line between the persona and the actress blurs completely.
Okay.
So critics and audiences start projecting all their dissatisfaction with the show's evolution, or maybe the cultural evolution it represents, onto the actress herself.
So the Razzies weren't just about her acting.
I don't think so. They were criticizing the perceived vanity and sort of decadence of the sequel as much as anything. That intense scrutiny is just the price you pay for that level of global fame.
How did she handle that intense pressure?
Well, she strategically chose her next move back to television, even if it was brief. In 2012, she guest starred in 3 episodes of the Fox musical series Glee.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
She played Isabel Wright, a sophisticated Vogue executive who mentors Kurt Hummel in New York.
Exactly. And that was a smart pivot, I think. It used her existing known brand, fashion, New York chic, but put her in a supporting role that allowed her to demonstrate she still had that magnetic, charming presence on the small screen without the pressure of anchoring a whole franchise.
Right.
Vulture remarked at the time that she was absolutely an asset, confirming the power of her presence remained.
And of course, the enduring nature of the character meant she returned yet again in the revival series. And just like that.
Which ran from 2021 to 2025, yeah.
This just proves that despite the critical ups and downs, the character remains one of the most culturally durable in modern media history. She just keeps coming back.
She does. The connection is just too strong.
The journey from actress to activist and entrepreneur, though, that's the real deep dive here, bringing us to Section 4, the entrepreneur and producer. This is where she leveraged that global fame into these profound business and ethical platforms, really starting around 2005.
Yeah.
This is where the strategy moves way beyond just performing.
This is where she truly becomes a cultural architect, I'd argue. The producer role is absolutely vital here. In 2005, she founded her production company, Pretty Matches, with Alison Benson. Apparently, they were introduced by her agent.
Okay, Pretty Matches. And what was the goal there?
Well, the mission statement is foundational to her later career. The company aims to significantly increase female representation in media production.
Okay. So not just a vanity project. It's a strategic move to ensure control and influence content from the ground up, aligning with those feminist themes she championed in SATC.
Precisely. And they immediately set out to achieve this. They produced and she starred in the HBO dramedy series Divorce, which ran from 2016 to 2019.
Right. I remember Divorce.
And Divorce was a very deliberate choice. She played Frances Dufresne, a married woman whose affair kind of precipitates her divorce. It was a role that was grounded, complex, mature, the exact opposite of the sometimes whimsical Carrie Bradshaw.
Good point.
It was a prestige HBO vehicle designed to showcase her serious acting chops post-Carrie. And, it worked. She earned another Golden Globe nomination for it.
And she also produced and starred in the independent drama Here and Now in 2018, right?
Yep. The acting choices are now becoming inseparable from her production agenda. She's controlling the narrative.
Okay, so beyond production, her status as a fashion icon is just unparalleled.
Oh, yeah.
Numerous publications have labeled her as such, citing her personal style, her high-profile Met Gala appearances, and just the indelible influence of Carrie Bradshaw's fashion choices. It's constant media attention.
And this iconic label was immediately translated into massive, lucrative business ventures.
Yeah.
In 2003, she signed that high-profile deal with Garnier for Nutra's hair products. Then, in 2004, right as SATC wrapped, she made a monumental deal. A $38 million multi-season contract with Gap.
$38 million. Okay, let's stop and analyze that Gap endorsement, though, because the sources suggest it generated immediate public criticism.
It did.
Why did a high-fashion icon, synonymous with Manolo Blahniks and designer labels, sign a deal with a mass-market, non-high-end clothing brand like Gap? It seems odd.
Well, that's the genius strategic maneuver, I think. The criticism was exactly that. The glamorous, urban chic image of Carrie Bradshaw seemed contradictory to Gap's accessible, casual identity.
Right.
However, Gap executives felt they desperately needed an iconic but contemporary face to lend high luster around the brand, as Wendy Liebman, a strategic retail president, put it.
So Gap needed her more than she needed them.
Kind of, as SJP took a calculated risk, knowing that if she could bridge that gap, literally, her brand recognition would become universal. And the ad campaign succeeded. They ultimately gave Gap a much-needed fresh face and made SJP's endorsement accessible to the middle American consumers who didn't buy $500 shoes.
Okay, that makes sense. That move kind of inoculated her brand against elitism, maybe.
I think so, yeah. And her product diversification didn't stop there. She entered the fragrance market in 2005 with her first perfume, Lovely.
I remember Lovely.
Followed by Covet in 2007, capturing that high-end retail sector.
But then she pulled probably the most surprising pivot in 2007. She moved into deep budget fashion.
Yeah.
She launched her clothing line called Bitten in partnership with the discount chain Steve & Barry's.
Which sadly went bankrupt later, but the line itself.
Right, but the core, unbelievable promise of the line was that all clothing items and accessories would be priced under $20.
Under $20. How could she manage that radical brand split? You've got luxury fragrance, the Gap deal, the high-fashion Met Gala appearances, and now launching a $20 line at a discount retailer. Wasn't that a massive risk of diluting the Carrie Bradshaw brand?
You'd think so.
Traditionally, yes, it would absolutely be seen as dilution. But she established herself as an accessible entrepreneur who understood that her influence spanned all socioeconomic levels.
Oh.
She was appealing directly to the vast majority of her audience who loved the idea of Carrie Bradshaw style, but could never, ever afford it. It was incredibly smart, inclusive branding.
Okay.
She captured the high-end enthusiast with her footwear line, the SJP collection, launched later at Nordstrom in 2014.
Right, cheers.
And simultaneously embraced the mass-market consumer with Bitten. She even branched into the luxury wedding market with a ready-to-wear bridal collection in 2018. She covered all bases.
Wow. Okay, if that wasn't enough diversification, her focus then transitioned into literary and advocacy work, creating this complete sort of circular strategy for her influence.
Exactly. In 2016, she launched a publishing imprint, SJP for Hogarth, with Crown Publishing Group.
A publishing imprint.
Yeah, and later partnered with Zando in 2023 to create SJP Lit.
SJP Lit. This pivot connects directly back to her early life, doesn't it? That culturally rich but impoverished childhood.
Absolutely. She is now literally influencing the production and distribution of literature, which leads directly to her advocacy role.
Right.
In 2017, she partnered with the American Library Association, the ALA, to create Book Club Central. It's an online platform providing reading resources and book lists. She's promoting reading on a national level.
But the advocacy deepens dramatically beyond just book clubs, doesn't it? She has become an incredibly vocal and active defender of the freedom to read.
Very much so. This culminated in 2025 when she served as an executive producer on the documentary The Librarians.
What's that about?
It focuses squarely on librarians combating the rise of book banning across the United States.
Wow, okay. That's taken a stand.
This is the definitive strategic shift in her later career, I think. She is protecting the very content she is now championing as a publisher.
That makes sense.
She received the Peanaudible Literary Service Award in May 2025, specifically for her work on The Librarians and for uplifting underrepresented voices through her SJP Lit imprint. The award called her an indispensable defender of the freedom to read.
Indispensable defender.
Yeah.
She's moved from fashion icon to cultural defender in the most profound sense.
It's a huge shift.
And finally, just to round out the empire, we have to mention her foray into the adult beverage industry, demonstrating just relentless enterprise.
Right. In 2019, she partnered with New Zealand winery In Vivo & Co.,
Okay.
producing the award-winning In Vivo X Sarah Jessica Parker Sauvignon Blanc from Marlborough, and also a rosé from Provence. She ensures her enterprise extends across fashion, media production, literature, and now, luxury consumables like wine. She's everywhere.
Truly multifaceted.
Now that we've covered the sheer breadth of her professional life, from a stage debut at 11 to basically a global media conglomerate, let's look at Section 5, Personal Life and Career Synthesis. This helps contextualize the emotional landscape of her journey, I think.
Yeah, good idea. Her personal life often intersected with her formative career years in pretty traumatic ways.
Yeah.
She was in a highly publicized, very significant relationship with actor Robert Downey Jr. from 1984 to 1991.
Right.
They met when they were both quite young on the set of a film called Firstborn.
And that relationship lasted 7 years. 7 years. And was deeply affected by his well-documented drug problem at the time.
Yeah.
It's an intensely emotional context for a young woman who is also trying to navigate that tricky transition from child star to serious adult actress.
And she was very open about the incredible emotional strain she carried during that period. That famous quote really gives you a sense of the immense emotional labor she undertook.
Which quote is that?
I believed I was the person holding him together.
Wow. That one line, holding him together, is so profound when you realize she was simultaneously navigating the intense pressure of launching her major film career in the 80s, right? Appearing in films like Footloose and LA Story.
Yeah.
She wasn't just performing, she was navigating this complex, exhausting personal crisis under intense public scrutiny. That's a lot for someone in their early 20s.
Definitely. If we fast forward, her next major relationship was a much different foundation for her adult life, particularly one built in the theater world, which makes sense given her background.
Right.
She later met and married actor Matthew Broderick. They were introduced by one of her brothers at the Naked Angels Theater Company, where both she and Broderick performed.
Ah, the theater connection again. They married in an intimate Episcopal ceremony in Manhattan's Lower East Side in 1997.
1997. Just as Sex and the City was about to launch and completely revolutionize her life.
Wow, yeah. Talk about timing. This marriage really provided the stability needed, perhaps, for the massive fame explosion that followed just a year later.
It seems like it. They share 3 children. Their son, James Wilkie, born in 2002.
During the SATC run.
Right. And twin daughters, Marion and Tabitha, born via surrogacy in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
And we have an incredibly specific detail about the twins' middle names, Elwell and Hodge.
Oh, yeah.
She discovered those names were derived from her maternal ancestors during the filming of that TV series, Who Do You Think You Are? Back in 2010.
Oh, that's lovely. That small detail reflects her deep connection to her mother's lineage and the history that underpinned those early hardworking years. It brings it full circle.
Yeah. As for where they live, since 2009, she and her family have maintained stability in Greenwich Village, Manhattan.
Right in the heart of it all.
And they undertook this massive renovation project, starting around 2016, to combine 2 townhouses they purchased on West 11th Street. The work continued into 2019.
Combining 2 townhouses? Wow.
It's like a physical manifestation of establishing this firm, permanent, stable foothold in the city that she, in many ways, helped define.
That's a great way to put it. They also spend considerable time at their second home near Kilcar in County Donegal, Ireland. Apparently, Broderick spent summers there as a child.
Okay, pulling all of this together then, let's quickly summarize the accolades again. We established the depth of her achievement. She has a total of 8 wins out of 28 total nominations across the major awards: Golden Globes, Emmys, and Screen Actors Guild Awards.
Which is impressive on its own.
But the most powerful summary of her influence, I think, goes far beyond just performance metrics. Her receipt of the Hasty Pudding Woman of the Year award back in 2002 marked her cultural standing pretty early on.
Right.
But the ultimate non-performance honor has to be being named one of the 100 most influential people in the world by Time magazine in 2022.
Yeah. That designation recognizes the full spectrum of her work, doesn't it? The actress, the shrewd producer, the multi-tier entrepreneur, and now the tireless literary activist. It covers everything we've talked about.
Exactly. It's the whole package.
So, what does this all mean for you, the listener? What's the big picture here?
The key takeaway from this deep dive, I think, is the sheer scale of Sarah Jessica Parker's transformation.
Oh,
And it seems driven by an ambition forged in necessity, right?
absolutely.
She went from that impoverished Ohio childhood defined by hardworking stage roles and real financial struggle to leveraging one iconic, defining role, Carrie Bradshaw, into this foundation for global enterprise and influence that now spans publishing, production, retail, wine.
Everything. We've seen her pivot masterfully throughout her career. That early poverty seems to have created this calculated ambition that allowed her to take the fame from Sex and the City and channel it into control through pretty matches, increasing female representation,
Right.
and into commercial dominance that somehow bridged high and low culture. That strategy of the $38 million Gap deal alongside the sub-$20 bitten line, it demonstrates a market awareness that is almost unheard of for an A-list celebrity.
Yeah, protecting her brand against the very elitism she often played on screen is quite clever.
It really is.
Her trajectory is truly one of consistent, highly calculated ambition, always ensuring her influence served a commercial purpose, or in the later stages, an ethical purpose. She built an empire.
Yeah.
And now she seems to be spending her influence on protecting the right to access the very culture that perhaps she felt denied as a child due to finances.
That's a powerful connection. Which raises an important question as we look at her moving forward, doesn't it?
What's that?
Sarah Jessica Parker's later career is now so defined by this strong commitment to cultural causes, like the freedom to read, evidenced by her executive producer role on the Librarian's documentary and her publishing efforts with SJP Lit.
Right.
So what does SJP's trajectory tell us about the power of celebrity influence when it's really channeled toward advocacy like this? And maybe more pointedly, how does this commitment to high-stakes issues, defending knowledge against censorship, how does that potentially reshape her own legacy? Does it move her permanently beyond the image of Carrie Bradshaw and into this realm of, as you said, cultural defender?
That's a great final thought. Something for you to consider long after the credits roll.